Hey everybody, it's Rory from A&S Gear, and we're going to look at an accessory for your TiPX or your TCR today. That's made by Exalt. This is the Tippmann extended magazine release. So a lot of people have an issue with the mag release on the TiPX or the TCR, that it is too short or too hard to get to with your thumb while you're shooting it. So this one right here, I've got an olive one that I have pre-disassembled slightly. But as you can see, if I'm holding it in my hand like this, my thumb doesn't reach the mag release, which is not that big of a deal for me. But if I wanted to drop the magazine out while I was playing and still have my gun in an upright position, I couldn't do it. I actually have to turn my hand over the top to get to the mag release so that I can push it and release the magazine. So while I'm playing, that's something I have to stop and do. I have to look, take the mag out, put the new mag in, and then go back to sighting in whatever I'm trying to shoot, which could be the difference between getting shot and not getting shot. Not seeing someone move or come closer to me because I'm looking at my equipment, rather than being able to keep my gun up, feel the mag release with my thumb, and do it all without really having to look at it. So Exalt has made a replacement piece for the magazine release that is longer. It extends the length of it so it sticks up further, and it makes it a little bit easier to get to when your hand's up, something that my thumb can actually kind of reach and push against while I have the gun in a upright position. So we're going to put one in real quick just because it's pretty easy to put in there. You just have to know how to take your gun apart. And if you're not comfortable taking your TiPX apart or your TCR apart, there are some things you want to look for, because if you just pull the shell apart, there are all sorts of pieces that are just going to come shooting out at you all over the place. If you don't know how to put them back together, that could be a problem. But if you follow a couple extra or helpful tips, you can kind of keep everything from jumping out on you. It's still possible, especially if you forget to hold something or whatever. It still can come apart, but it's less likely to. So I have removed the barrel. I have removed the front cap where the 12 gram goes. I have removed all of the screws around the entire thing, and the top middle screw, I have taken it out and I have turned it over and I have threaded it through the other side reverse, so up through the back of the gun. And that'll actually help keep the firing breech in place. It can still pop out, but it helps keep it in there a little bit better, especially when we go to take everything apart. So what I'm going to do now is take the top cover off, and I'm going to hold on to this this front piece right here, the front shroud, and that'll help keep everything in place as well. And then try to just wiggle it all up. The safety button will come out typically when we take the top half off, so that is okay. We can just drop it back in. And we just want to look as we're taking it apart to make sure that other things, if they do come apart, we don't lose all the pieces or have them go everywhere. So I'm going to hold on to this. And I'm doing this upside down, which is going to be a little tricky, but we'll see how it goes. All right, I grab the front and I'm pulling that up, but I'm still holding this piece down, this shroud down. This bottom part has got to come. There's a little hook right here, the little latch that's going to hold that together as well. And I should be able to take that apart. Now the safety is right here. I'm going to take the safety just all the way out, and I'm going to put it in to where the safety goes. The safety is going to go in rubber or a black O-ring side first. The red O-ring we want sticking up, because that's going to come through the other side right there. And then I'm going to go through these. I'm just going to make sure that everything is in its place. I can see that my trigger kind of jumped out of place. So I'm going to try to put that back into its position without monkeying around with it too much. So that's back to the way it should be. And then right here is our mag release. Now, I'm not going to let go of this piece right here. I'm going to try to hold this the whole time, because if I do let go of that, you can see how that jumped up right there. This thing will just fold right up and it will pop right out. So I'm going to hold this with my other hand. You can actually do the rest of this with just one hand. Or you can find something heavy to rest on top of this, like a hammer or a crescent wrench or something like that, to lay on top of that and hold it down if you need to work with two hands. So you can just pull the mag release out. Right there. Now there's a spring in the bottom of it. We're going to remove the spring out. And I'm going to lay these two pieces next to each other. And you can see the difference in them. Well, you might not be able to see it on there. Maybe if I turn them this way. You can see this is the original one right here. This is the new one. You can see how much further it sticks forward than the other one. So it gives you that extra room. So we're going to take the new one. The spring slides into the same spot on here. Just like that. And then we can put this in place inside here. There's a little hole in here where the spring will sit. Try to turn this up so you can see it. Right down in here, there's a little hole where the spring is going to sit. You can, if you're not comfortable with putting the spring in this piece first, you can take the spring, drop it in the hole right there, and then take this piece and set it on top. All right, so you can see that the extended mag is in there. What I wouldn't recommend you doing, because I've done it and the spring flies out, is trying to push on this thing up and down right now to see that it works. It does work, trust me. You don't need to test it right now. Just let it sit there. Don't bounce this thing up and down because it can shoot the spring right out of there. It happened, trust me. So with that sitting like this, we're going to go ahead and put the top back on. First thing we're going to do is put our safety in. So remember, black O-ring first. Just push it right down into place. Everything else should be the same unless things blew apart on you when you took them apart. So you want to get back to this position before we start to put the shell back together. So we take our shell, we're going to line it up on here. Remember, I'm trying to hold on to this whole thing. You have to slide over and just hold on to the black section, the shroud section, because our fingers will be underneath the half of the shell if we don't move them. One thing you will see as you start to put this back together is that the mag release has fallen over. And that's just how it's going to be. It's going to go over to the side and it's going to get in the way. So we're going to try to get some of the top on right now. And then I'm going to take my pick, or you can take an Allen key or something, and I'm going to pull the extended mag release out a little bit and then still go back to it, pull it out, just so it sits on the outside right there. We don't want it to be stuck underneath there when we try to push this whole thing together. And we can go ahead and just close the rest of our shell like that. Now that might look easy to do. I've done it a bunch of times, so I got it down to the way I know that it needs to work. Trust me, the first time you try to do that, it's not going to go that easy. So just give it some time. Don't force anything. As you saw, my whole piece just snapped together. If you're forcing it and it's not going together, something isn't right. Don't keep forcing it because you will break it. So if it doesn't go together just that easy, stop what you're doing. From this point, we're done. All we need to do is put our screws back in. But we also want to test the mag release. Now you can see the mag release sticks out much further. I can actually get to it with my thumb. It's in a standard shooting position. We want to put a magazine in there and we want to make sure that the magazine ejects and that it is firmly secure inside the gun. If it's not, you've probably installed this wrong, or the spring fell out or something while you were putting it in. Go back and do it again. Makes it much easier. So after that, we would go ahead and put all our screws back in, put our barrel back in, and put our front CO2 cap back on, and we'd be ready to go. So if you are noticing, or you don't like the fact that it is hard to get that mag release to function because it's just too recessed into the gun, definitely pick one of these up. I would say pick one up even if it isn't an issue, because it will just make your reloading that much easier. Exalt Tippmann, they'll fit the TiPX like we see here, but also the TCR. Extended mag release, available through the website. Order yours now through ansgear.com.